All right, so this is a Free Spirit line by Tilda Pink. It's called Daydreamer. Now, the pre-packaged fat quarter pack here only has 22 prints in it. So I would need to augment this with a couple more fabrics. And I've pulled here her solids that coordinate really well with this line, but you could go with anything really. But what I like about this line is that it does have several different colors, right? So I have my aqua blue, I have green, I have yellow, and then I have orange, and then the pink. So we really have only about these that are cool, and then these that are warm. So pretty equal. It's definitely represents a good portion of the color wheel. And then some of the colors within it also get pulled out, especially if you go with a solid with the colors. For instance, this line doesn't really have any of that violet, but if I were to pull a solid that reads as a violet, it's definitely going to pull some of the violet that's in the print out. What I also like about this fabric line is it has little small accents, with a pretty decent size of a solid color. It has some geometric, again, here's another one with a small accent. It has stuff that reads, or I should say it has some fabric that reads as tone on tone, which is really nice. It does have some multicolor prints. It does have some larger scale prints. And then, here's some more geometric. So it's a really nice line. There are a couple here. This is a variegation. So depending on where you cut, you might get that creamy with the fuchsia, you might get it with the blue, you might get it with the green or the orange. So a lot you can do there, possibly with some fussy cutting. So you would need to add to it. This only has 22 lines, and I would recommend making sure that you're pulling lightness and darkness. Now you don't have to go with solids. You could get some more tone on tone, or you could bring in some of her fabric from different prior lines, but sometimes it's nice to start off with a fat quarter pack that might get you to 18 to 24, and then augment it either with stash or, solids, tone on tones. They always help a great deal. So here, I would go ahead and definitely add these darker ones, because there's nothing here really that reads as a dark. There's one here that's a multicolor print that is definitely in the darker space. But other than that, maybe this one is a medium dark. So this would be nice. But then I also feel that there's only a few, like this one, maybe a couple of these pinks. Even these yellows I think are closer to medium yellows. So then it would be nice to pull some lights as well. So examine your fat quarter pack that you like, and determine whether or not it has some values that are missing. If so, augment with some values. Maybe it needs something that reads a little more solidish or tone on tone because there's so much print going on. If that's the case, then you'd want to go towards tone on tone and solidish. Maybe you have the opposite. Maybe you have a fat quarter pack that reads all as tone on tone, and you need to add some prints to it. So take a look at that fat quarter pack. The very first recommendation I would give you is decide what you want this quilt to feel like. If you want it to be a holiday, if you want it to be patriotic, if you want it to have a cool feeling, if you want it to have a warm feeling, start there and then go after your fabric selection. So if you wanted something to have a cooler, calming feel, you would ideally want to pick something on the cool side of the color wheel. If you want something warm and comforting, pick something on the warm side of the color wheel. Okay? If you want mostly warm but a little bit of pop, go with the split complementary. In other words, pick one cool color here and then several warm colors here. If you want something to read mostly cool with a little bit of pop, pick mostly colors from over here with a little bit of pop over here. Similar to what I did with my very first fabric selection is that most of those fabrics are from this side of the color wheel with a little bit of the blue. So it's a mostly warm with a pop of cool. Okay. Let me go grab a few other fat quarter packs to just kind of walk you through what potentially to look for and why they might work so that you can apply that to your own fat quarters. All right. This is Homestead. This is a fabric line that is Moda. I think it's was out last year. But this is a really nice fat quarter pack. It has 30 fat quarters in it. Now, some are towards the, the background with a print, right? So remember, I need at least 24 that have some difference from a potential background color, okay? So a couple of these would not count towards that 24 of that 36 that I need, but I have plenty of others. And then I could always, again, augment this fabric line with some solids or some tone-on-tones. Sorry, I keep grabbing my solids. They're the easiest for me to pull for these videos. But I have here my blue, turquoise blue, red, green, some, cream with the print, and then some yellow. So it's sort of a triadic color plan in that, if we go back to yellow, red, and blue are the basics of a triadic color plan, but there is a hint of green here as well. So almost a triadic plan with a pop, right? But then we could look at it that green and red are opposite on the color wheel from each other. Blue is opposite of orange. There's a couple blues that are opposite of yellow, but they're more towards the orange, which this is like a golden yellow. But a lot of the fabrics are what I call the bridge fabrics, right? Where we have these prints that bring all these colors together. So really when you're looking at a pre-packaged fat quarter pack, the designer has already made sure that all these colors are going to go together well. So that's something to think about if you struggle with picking out fabric or picking out a lot of fabrics, right? So I know that a lot of people are great picking out 4 fabrics, but they're not great picking out a fat quarter, 24 fat quarters or 36 fat quarters. So always starting with a pre-packaged will help you, and then just take elements of this and translate it to figure out what you need to augment it with. So solids here are always going to help. Tone-on-tones are always going to help. This has a variety of scale, right? So I have some geometric here. I have some large scale prints. I have some small accents over tone-on-tone. I have some geometric. Again, another big, nice floral. A tone-on-tone. Love this little vegetable one. Then I have, what I would call a medium scale. More geometric, right? Some more tone-on-tone. But it has a nice variety. And then augment it with some solids or some tone-on-tones. It really looks good. Then let's talk about value, right? So I have a lot that's in this darker red space. Now here, this pink is technically a lighter version of that. Then I could hope to use the cream with the red print to kind of read as a softer red. So it does lack a little bit in the light space. Green here, I have a couple different varieties. Yellow, I went ahead and pulled a lighter yellow, given that this is closer to a medium yellow. Same thing with the green. I felt I still could use something that's a little lighter, so I pulled a lighter shade of green. And then in the blue, I have some dark blue, I have some medium, and then again, I pulled my solid that's closer to a lighter version. And it does have some gray over here as well. I pulled a light gray. Doesn't look so gray until I put it next to the white. With this, I would probably go with a whitey cream background. And I think this would work well. It has, again, different values. I had to augment that to get a couple of them. It has different scales of prints, which is going to give me some interest. The designer has put together this color plan. I think it's pretty much a triadic with a little bit of pop of green, which green I always feel is a neutral. It's in nature, and it goes with everything. So Again, something to think about, right? So you can either look at prepackaged fat quarter packs that have 20 and you need to do a good amount of augmenting, similar to what I had to do with the Tula, or you could get a fat quarter pack that's closer to 30 and you just need to do a little bit of augmenting with it. All right, let me take you through another one. All right, this is Garden Life by Tilda, and it has 20 fat quarters in it, and it has some beautiful, beautiful prints. It is really just a beautiful print. It has some large scale, some multicolor. It has some small accents to a bit. It doesn't have a lot of plain or tone on tone, right? It is just full of florals and such. And it is primarily a split complementary color plan, right? We have greens and yellows, and then we go across the wheel and we have blue violet and the red violet purple. So it's basically taking and going with this and this, right? So it's a split complementary on both sides. So 20 fat quarters, beautiful color plan, beautiful fabric, right? But I don't have really anything that's reading tone on tone as far as a scale. These all are a pretty same saturation level in the medium space, okay? So what I probably need is a couple lights and then a couple things that are a little darker. And they need to be a little bit more solidish, okay? So by all means, you know, this was a free spirit, but we can mix lines. This would be really pretty with it. It would have a lot of the same colors. So even though it's a Tula solid free spirit, I think it would look really pretty, and it would give me some lighter yellow, some lighter green, some lighter blue, some lighter red violet, and then a little bit of lighter purple. So this would help give me a couple more fabrics in it. Then I could look at, let me just pull this over. So this is my Tilda bin of, you know, some additional solids that, you know, are in the Tilda line. So I could definitely pull this to read as a little darker. I could pull some dots to get additional texture, although I probably wouldn't go with this color. I would look for something that's more in the space, such as this one that has the color represented here. This I could pull as well, it has dots, but it's, you know, I'm kind of all set with, if I go with this and this, the light. So I'm really looking for things that register more as the dark. So I could keep looking through my bin here and trying to find different things. It's one of the things that is definitely tough with the Tilda lines is that there's not a lot of value difference. So it is something. But I could definitely pull that. It would definitely pull some of these fabrics here. I think I could make it work. And nobody says that I have to be limited to just the Tilda. But I mean, I could pull out this dark. I could even probably pull out some of the fabrics that have a little bit more of a print on it. They have this dot series. Again, I'm not so sure that that would go. I'd have to play around with it. I want to make sure that it doesn't, you know, bump up against this particular fabric. You know, cause it to stick out some. But I got a lot here that I could go through, and I have tons more fabric that I could go through. But just to kind of give you an idea of, I could take something that has all florals, right? All pretty big scale prints, medium scale prints, multicolors, augment that with some solids, and then maybe pull some additional blenders, maybe focus in on a couple of the dark. If I had to say, in your 36 fabrics, I think you want at least about 6 to 8 lights, and I think you probably want at least, you know, 4 to 8 more darker colors. And then you're going to have variations from your light, medium, 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 dark. All right, but If you want to get some dimension in your quilt, that's all going to be found with value. We can do a little trickery with scale of print to give us some of that dimension, but the best source always for dimension in a quilt is going to be your value of your fabric, making sure you have light, medium, and then, you know, some darker things. All right.